Hey guys, DJY Productions here, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a video about the Cobalt IP digital switch machines, which are from DCC Concepts over in the UK. Put their website down in the description. These switch machines are pretty cool. I bought a 12 pack of them and they're all installed under the layout already, and I need just two more to finish up my mainline switches here. DCC Concepts, they're based over in the UK. Why did I choose these? Well, for starters, these switch machines, you can get them at Iron Planet Hobbies for just under 30 bucks. They got them listed right now for $26.23, which is pretty great. A pack of 12 comes in about 11 or 12 bucks shy of $300. And the reason that I went with these is because these IP digital ones have their stationary decoders built in already. So out of the package, they're ready to go. The other reason I chose these, I don't know how well you can see on the bottom here, but these left two wire terminals are for DCC in, so these can be powered with DCC control, or you can use regulated DC power as well. I don't have a DCC accessory bus. I would like to get one in time, but I don't, so this was great to not have to run any additional wires. I literally plugged two from the track power in and it's ready to go. I'll demonstrate that here in a little bit. The other nice thing about these, I don't know if you can see it here, this is a adhesive pad that you stick to the top side of this and press it into place on the underside of the layout, and it'll help hold it in place while you set your screws. So I think that's really handy. These packages include all the screws and the hardware needed to install it, as well as the throw rod, which I don't know if the tortoises do now. I know the one that I bought like 12 years ago did not, and I had to use a paper clip. This comes with a wire to throw the turnouts. Which you can maybe sort of see there. There's the fulcrum piece that the lever moves upon, and a couple extra screws. These long ones are the mounting screws, and there's 5 of them, despite there only being 4 spots for screws. And there's 2 additional screws that hold the throw rod in place. So let me just show how easy this is to set up. The first thing I do is I stick this adhesive pad to this, just so it's done and I don't have to worry about forgetting it. Just line that up like so, press that into place, and now when you're ready to mount it, you peel this off, stick it, and it will hold. I've heard some people say they trust them well enough that they don't use the screws. I'm not that brave, so I put at least 1 screw on each side, ideally on opposite corners, just to keep it where it needs to be, because the last thing I need is a derailment due to a switch machine on the ground. So this also is the owner's manual, and it talks about all kinds of different things. Here's the diagram for all the wire terminals. The other nice thing is there's no soldering that needs to be done to this. These, I'll show you here. These are track power wires that I've got alligator clipped to the top, and you literally just press that in. There's 1, and there's 2, and this switch machine is ready to go. You'll also notice right here, there's a set run switch. You can see it here on the back side. Set, right? And run. So in the up position it's in run, and in the down position you flip it to set. So this is how you program the switch machine to whatever address you would like. So this one's ultimately going to end up being number 2. And the way you do that is, like you see, I've got number 2 called up over here. If I throw this, close this, nothing happens. So how do you program this? It's very simple. You've got the power hooked up. This is DCC power, so this is running off the rail power that comes from my Digitrack system. You flip this switch down into the set position. Now all you do is, in your DCC system, set the switch number and send a throw or a closed and a throw. They recommend doing it twice at whatever address that you want this switch machine to be at. And once that's done, you set it back to run, and now you'll see that it responds to address 2. There it's thrown, here it's closed. Just like that. That's as easy as it gets. Right out of the box, DCC controlled. You don't have to worry about any extra, components that need plugged into this. The DCC rail power or your DCC accessory bus can go straight into this. You can also use the DC power, and I think, like the tortoises, right out the box, use a double throw, double pull, double throw. I don't know, words are hard. One of those toggle switches to change this. If you see this that's taped over here, this is switch wiring only. So you can have 1 or 2 momentary push buttons added, which gives you a simple way to throw your switch machine from in the field without having to call up a DCC address or anything like that. So it's very easy to do multiple things with this. There's a whole set of instructions somewhere in here. Here it is. Talks about self-centering. They have self-centering options, and then if you need to reverse the direction, if you mount it and say, oh, this is in the closed position but it needs to be in the thrown position, you set the address of that switch machine, flip it back to set the address to 197, throw it a couple times, set it back to run, and then cycle the track power or accessory bus power or whatever, and now the motor will be reversed so that when it's thrown or closed, it's in the direction you have set. So I've done that with all my switch machines so that the straight rail or the main line position is the normal closed position, and the thrown is reversed to be lined for a diverging route or siding or things like that. So that's how that works. Very simple, very easy to set up. In terms of assembly, like I said, they come with all the screws that you need, which is super convenient, and the throw rod, which is very sturdy. Similar to your tortoises, these come with the adjustable fulcrum. You can see, it's hard to tell, but there's 5 holes in there. And I've had good success just using the center one. And I feed the wire through that middle hole. But I like the adjustable fulcrum, so your length of throw can be adjusted. If you need more point movement, simply slide this closer to the throw mechanism, and if you need less throw, you slide this up. Obviously there's a little bit of give in this wire too, so it's not the end of the world, but it does help having it set up. Holding this in place to get the screw in is probably the second hardest thing about installing these. The first hardest is just getting the mounting screws in underneath. I think the only thing I might change about these, if it were up to me, is instead of these slots on top where these screws go, that they would put material so there's a hole so that the switch machine can help hold them straight up. It is tough, even with the adhesive, trying to get a screw close to this machine so that it goes straight. But other than that, I think these are wonderful machines. Let's talk about the hardware we'll need. First of all, obviously, we're going to need our Cobalt IP digital switch machine with the throw rod installed already. Obviously, our mounting screws and a Phillips head screwdriver to mount those. The longer the shaft you can find, the better, as the switch machine is kind of tall, so being able to get closer to it to tighten those screws in perpendicular to the to your working surface is much better. 2 different drill bits. The first, this is a 1/4 inch one that I'm going to use to drill the hole that the throw rod's going to come up through. The other drill bit, this is the smallest one out of my drill bit set, is a 1/16 inch, and this is going to drill a hole into this piece of styrene here, and I'm going to cut a rectangular piece of this styrene, which is going to allow the throw rod that's next to the switch to reach the switch point and pull them back and forth. If you'd like paint, you can use some paint to paint that so it blends in better with your ties. That's perfectly fine. That's what I'm planning to do up there at Oregon. You're also going to need some kind of fine blade. I'm just using a box cutter and needle nose pliers or tweezers. And this is going to allow us to remove the spring in the Pico switches, which needs to be removed in order for the Cobalt to throw the points smoothly. And then wire and wire strippers, so you can connect the switch machine to your DCC or DC power. And then whatever you use to connect those to that, I'm probably going to use wire nuts, but you can use the tap splice suitcase connectors or whatever. Wago connectors would work just fine. And then I think that is everything. So with that said, let's get started. As I mentioned, one of the things is a piece of styrene to extend the throw rod. I did try doing this without adding styrene and just using the hole through the switch points. The problem is my large drill bit got too close and it caught that piece and damaged the switch pretty bad, tore it up pretty good. So in order to avoid that, I've been just using simple, I mean, this is a thin piece of styrene. It's not super thick. I don't remember the thickness, but it's heavy enough that it's not going to get damaged or anything. So all we need then is a small hole through a piece, which I put just somewhere near the edge of this. There we go. Very small, not very big. Like I said, the smallest drill bit in my Milwaukee set. And then we need to simply cut this piece, and I'm just using a regular pair of scissors, which I guess I did not list in my hardware thing, but that's okay. And I'm going to cut it a little longer because I know I can shorten that up and pick it up off the floor before my dog finds it. So there we go. This is the piece that will extend the throw bar, I guess, of the switch machine to the outside of the rail. Okay, so here I have my Pico switch. This is a number 8, code 83. First thing I want to do is remove the self-centering spring. So it's difficult to see, but there's a metal plate that has 2 tabs that stick up through this tie. If you just pry from the rail towards the inside on each one of those little metal tabs, you can get this piece pulled up. This is what holds the cover down for the self-centering spring. Once that's done, you can kind of push the rails over, try to center them, center the points, the switch points, and you can pull this piece up, sort of. There we go. You can save this if you'd like. I always do. And usually in doing that, the spring will flop out on its own. And now you can see that if I jiggle this, it doesn't snap back to one side or the other. It kind of floats itself back into the middle. If I could find where the spring actually wound up, I would remove it, because sometimes, you know, they just get stuck, and I'd rather just have it be known that it's gone. But oh, here it is. It's off to the side right there. There we go. This is probably hard to see. I don't know if it's going to focus, but that's the spring we're looking to remove. It flops back and forth and locks the switch points, so we'll get rid of that. And now I'm going to take my cover piece and throw this back over. Let's see, I think it needs to go the other way. Yep. There's wood texture on this piece of plastic here, so having this back in place just makes the switch look good. There's not a weird hole. So we'll press that down. We'll use this box cutter to secure that back. And now we have a freely moving switch point, which is what the switch machines require. Next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to get rid of this excess. I don't believe my drill bit will fit in between there without damaging that. I don't know how. I'm going to try it. If I could keep it, that'd be great. Perfect. Well, that's good. I've got decorative, I've got a scale switch machine and switch heaters that will be nice to use these ties to secure those, so it will help hide the throw rod and the styrene. So that's cool. If you want, you can cut those. I was going to. It's not a big deal, but it works that the drill bit was far enough out that the drill bit was able to push these without damaging the switch. The one, like I said, that I tried to move the points over and drill really close next to this piece damaged the switch. It tore it out and was not good. So spare the effort, use the styrene trick, and just set your hole further off. I mean, it's nowhere near following the rails at all, but saves you having to come back and fix things later. So now that that's done, we will add our styrene piece and then mount the switch machine. So the way I like to do this is to simply use my tweezers. You can see I've got the hole closer to the points, and just dab a tiny little bit. Super glue, doesn't take much. You don't want too much. You don't want it to make the points stick somehow, either to the ground or to other plastic pieces or what have you. And then with the points centered between each of these outside stock rails, come in, I'm trying to do this without bumping the camera here, and center the hole over the hole that you drilled. Just like that. And gently let go. I'm going to give this a test wiggle here while the glue's still loose. That looks absolutely perfect. Then I'm going to use my Instacure just so I don't have to wait for this to dry. See if I can get in there. It's probably not perfect since it's underneath. Some of the other ones I did, I made the styrene a little bit skinnier but this will be more than fine. You see the points move, and now we have this extension, which once the Instacure is dry, I'm going to paint this brown as well so it blends in a little bit better, and you'll hardly even notice that it's there. And yeah, cleaning up the sawdust. So now let's go to the underside and we'll mount our switch machine. Alright, so from underneath the layout, you can see the hole is right here. I'm trying to use my phone to help light it up a little bit so you can see better. And conveniently, I have these wire nuts with track power right here, so that will be very easy to connect the power to this. So, at this point, I'm going to peel off the adhesive from the top of my switch machine. And normally, if you do these before you program them, it's quite a bit easier, as the switch machine is sent to you or purchased in a self-centered position. So now that I've actually already programmed this one ahead of time, it's going to be a little bit trickier trying to line this up. So once this is through, I need to come up and look above to find the hole. And I'm pushing, there we go, I've got it now. The other thing you want to make sure is that this stays perpendicular to your switch points. And the other thing you need to check is which way this is thrown. So this is thrown closed for straight rail. And I know I can adjust this fulcrum piece here, so if it's not too perfect, it's not the end of the world. So, now that I think I'm where I need to be, I can press this up against the layout firmly. And that is a switch machine. No. So, now that this is held in place, I can come in with the mounting screws, and I try to get at least one on each side. If I can do all four, that's fantastic, but one on each side for sure. And I'm hoping the screwdriver isn't too tall to fit. I'm working on the other roll here, so I don't. This is the tracking screwdriver, though. Oh, sorry. Effortlessly secure out. And now one on the other side. There we go, that feels sturdy. So now that that's mounted, all we have to do is take our wire, which I have pre-stripped, and our DCC in on this far left side. We've got one. Press that in nice and firm. We've got two. Press that in. And then bring these down just for simplicity's sake. It doesn't matter with the DCC bus which one goes to which, so that's very easy. But so I don't get confused, we're going to go red to red and white to white. And there's a red wire here. We're going to like, those. Take that, this. I'm going to insert the wire nut. Now that that's secure, I'll do the same thing on the white side. This one I will use a tap splice connector, and I need this to go to the white, not the red. So I need to get the actual red wire that over like that. Give it a good press. Test. That's secure. And now I should be able to grab my throttle. Again, normally at this point, if you haven't programmed this, drop this switch down to set. Set your address in the machine, throw it, close it, throw it, close it, and then back to run. And now when you select switch 2, which is the address I put, I can close that, and that is now closed. So that is literally all the harder it is. That's the hardest part, is just mounting it. And I know I said I need to reverse this. Closed should be straight rail. This is thrown. Thrown should be for the siding on your left there. But that's easy. So to do that, I will select the switch set. And on my throttle, 197. If I can, it gets angry when it's not near the switch. 197. Close, throw, close, throw. That sends the command to it. Back to run. Cycle the power. And now if I set back to set, switch 2, close, throw, throw, and then back to run, which is the up position. Now switch 2 is closed, and if I throw switch 2, it should throw to the left. I don't know what it's doing there. Switch to throw. There we go. Switch 2 is thrown now for the siding. Close it. Back to the main. That's literally as hard as it is. It's very simple. This is a wonderful product. I've enjoyed these. I will say my original plan up here was the Cobalt SS switch motors, and I don't like them. The reason I don't like them is, I don't know if you can see, but that little copper or brass piece is on a worm gear that runs the entire length of this. And it's very convenient that on the controller you can adjust the throw from extra small to extra large depending on how big you need this thing to move back and forth. What I don't like about it is, say it's extra small, you can have its range on this back end, or it's possible to wiggle it to the front end and have it wiggle up here. And the problem is that means you can have your points thrown where, okay, this says it's closed, but it may have moved its range per se, and now is not actually throwing your switches, or it's throwing them but there's a gap. And I'm not a fan of that. I like the undermount style. This is my other one here. This is switch number 3. It's based, it's old school. It's based, it runs back and forth. It's preset direction. You adjust the fulcrum to move the points, and it's reliable. It's very easy to set this up. You saw how easy it was to change its direction. It did not take a lot of effort whatsoever, other than just mounting the screws, and that's it. So that's where I've bought this, and I have one more that I need to put up here at West Oregon, which I have. This will be switch number 1, and you can see it here, but I just like, oh, I unplugged the machine already. I'm not a fan of it. I think it has great potential, but if its throw range was based off of this in its centered position and it followed that, I think that would be wonderful. I found when I was trying to install this one that any bit of tension whatsoever on this throw rod here, there's different rods that you can connect from the machine to the switch points. Until I found the right one, just even the slightest bit of pressure and it would not throw, which was problematic because I could get it to throw one way, but then there was pressure on it and it wouldn't throw back. So I'm pretty disappointed in the Cobalt SS machines, but I've really enjoyed the IP Digital machines. I mean, I've got this whole mess down here with Cobalts that, I mean, it's chaotic, and these indicator boards that I've just done on cardboard with LEDs, but very, very cool. Yeah, I love the IP Digitals. I need to build another board for East Oregon, which I will do a video demonstrating how I do that as well. So thanks for watching. Got one more of these bad boys to put in here, and then all my mainline switches will be all powered up. So appreciate you. There's Winston. You say bye? Good boy. Good boy. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.